Bella, Mekai, you forgive me, my study is very limited. I'm still a learner. My name is Brother Flavian. I am based at Pax College. I'm Zambian by nationality. So I'll share much based on organic pottery, or the herbs, the plants which we can use to prevent diseases. And this I have come to know them from childhood and also across the interaction with different people. I was trained, or I did philosophy and based on the human philosophy in Rome. Then I came back in Zambia. That's where I did my diploma in general agriculture. Then I have the experience of interacting with different people from different countries, or being based in different countries, being a missionary. The first mission which I went to was Italy. Then I went to Germany. Then I came back to Africa. I've been to Tanzania, where I worked with former child soldiers from Congo by interacting them into the system or into the society by teaching them the skills, which is agriculture skills, and how to integrate them into the society. I worked also in Rwanda and Burundi concerning the former child soldiers and street kids. Then in Tanzania, I worked with the deaf also. Then here in South Africa, I am working in the school, Pax College, but much based my work on the farm, although sometimes I assist in the school. So we'll look at what herbs are so important in the life of livestock. So as time has already gone, I'm not much based on my PowerPoint. I'll point out some few herbs which I've come to discover, or the information which I have and which I have also done and worked on them. I have some chickens there outside. Although Tebo said the broiler should not be kept for more than 6 or 8 weeks. Those broilers, they are 13 weeks. I acquired them from Rebecca. So those ones, I kept them deliberately, although I am also keeping some broilers which have laid eggs, and I have done a bit of an experiment of crossing the crossbreed of a sweet chicken or a sweet hen and a broiler cockerel. And the one which I have here is a crossbreed of a broiler and a cockerel, which is a Sutu cockerel. Maybe I will ask my brother there to bring the one, the big one, and the small one from the box so that you can see them. Which I acquired from Rebecca. Then this one is a crossbreed of a broiler. They are the hen which laid the eggs. It's almost 1 year, 6 months, and I'm eating them. So it's a crossbreed of from the broiler, the hen, and the cockerel, which is a Sutu. And all these chickens, I usually keep them organically. So the only vaccine which they only receive is the vaccine of Newcastle from the archery. The rest, I do them myself. So with the apps which we have, which I have said, which is available locally, because I have also some books which I have acquired from different countries, from Nigeria, Tanzania. Unfortunately, some of the apps we don't have them here. Like in Nigeria, they usually use what they call bitter coconut for Newcastle and Bungoro. Then here in South Africa, I have discovered, although I have no pictures, but I'll show you the picture of that plant. It is called Mexican sunflower. It is a plant which is usually growing around this place, and it is commonly used to other people as a fencing plant. I think once you see it, you can be able to recognize it. So that herb is called Mexican sunflower. So the Mexican sunflower is being used as a vaccination herb. I usually add it with aloe vera, salt, and water. Then it's been prepared a night before it's been given to the chickens. And the dosage is being done for 3 days. Although specifically you have only to take about 1 kg of those flowers and the leaves, then with a leaf or 2 leaves of aloe vera and a teaspoon of salt. So once you prepare it, you have to give it to the chickens early in the morning for 3 days. So we'll look at the available ingredients which can be used to make different concoctions of treating the diseases of the chickens. Here we have ginger. Ginger is used much to control the respiratory diseases, and it is also helping in also appetite of the chickens. So I usually grind or pound or grind the 500 grams of ginger together with chili, about 50 grams of chili, then garlic, which you can get, I think all of these ones you can get them from the market or from the supermarkets. And there are also some places where you can get garlic, which is on granule, what pieces, or it is already well prepared. And we prefer to use organically produced herbs. Although it's a bit difficult to find them, but as a farmer who is much interested in using the organic, like if you can see this ginger here, I kept it deliberately that it can able to start having the shoots. So once it's have the shoots, I can plant, although it will take time, it's just for my own use, and I will be sure that it is not chemically being contaminated. So as a farmer, you can able to produce the chickens, and you can also produce your own medicines. Then this one is apple cider vinegar. I produce my own apple cider vinegar, and the process is very short. It's not very difficult, but you have to be patient. To acquire this vinegar, it will take you at least 1 to 2 months. So you will get the vinegar, you will get the apples, you have to cut them into small pieces, and you have to make sure that you have not to put some seeds, because the seeds contain cyanide, and cyanide is poisonous. So you have to slice the apple properly, you remove the seeds, then you put it in water together with sugar. Then you can have a broth which can be able to make it that it has to be able to breathe, because the fermentation process will take place. So after 1 month, you will sieve it, then you can put it for another process, which is the second process, and the residues which will remain should not be thrown, because the residues which will remain, it will make what we call the mother, and it will help you to speed out the process. Immediately once you start making another bunch or another apple cider, you take that residue which remained to put it in the same container where you are going to put the new apple cider which you want to produce. So this will help you to ferment, the fermentation to be quick, because you have already the process. But some, they usually take the apple cider to speed up the fermentation. You can buy the apple cider from the shop, but preferably the one which is organic. Then I have also lemons, molasses, which is the byproduct from sugar, and it is very cheap. It could be the liquid molasses or the powdered one, but preferably I think the liquid molasses is more easier to use. In this container, I have what we call probiotic. The probiotic is one of the part of the antibiotics which you can use, but once you ferment it, it will have a bacteria. So this bacteria will be introduced to the chicken as they do with the virus. And once you introduce the bacteria to the chicken will be able, or the immunity of the chicken will be able to recognize that there is a stranger in their body, and they will be able to try to fight it. So when there will be any disease which will come in, the chickens have already known that there is a bacteria which has been introduced in their body, and they will be able to fight the disease. And the same concoction is also used for, it is used as an egg booster and growth booster. So the process could be, you can use the same with the leaves of moringa or oregano. So you get 1 kg leaves of moringa or oregano with 500 milliliters of molasses and half a liter of lemon juice or lemons. You can squeeze them. Then you ferment them for 1 week. Then after 1 week, you can sieve it and keep it for your chickens, which you can give at least 50 ml per liter for 5 days for prevention of different diseases. Chili is also much used for controlling cordiosis, and it can be used together with aloe vera to control the diseases like Newcastle. So you can pound the chili or you can use it, the fresh one, but the pounded one or the powdered one is more effective than the fresh one. So you can use it together with garlic, then aloe vera. You can give it to the chickens for 5 days using 50 ml of the concoction which you make in a liter for 5 days. There are also other herbs which I don't have here. We have black pepper. Okay, I think I have black pepper. Black pepper can be also mixed with chili, garlic, and the ordinary onion as a vaccine for gongoro. And you can give the concoction about 100 ml per liter to the chickens for 5 days. Then there is tramine, which you can also use as a prevention of different, what it is being used for prevention of different diseases. We have papaya leaves. Papaya leaves is used as a growth booster. You can use the green leaves pounded and put it in water. About 3 or 4, 5 leaves, you can put it in a liter of water. Then you can also have the powdered papaya leaves, which you can use 50 grams per liter of water. Or you can use a kg per 10 kg as a mixture for the broth. Then you can also prepare lactic acid. The lactic acid is more like a probiotic. It will also help to fight some diseases. And the process of preparing the lactic acid, you can have a kg of rice, wash it, then you strain it, and you keep about 2 liters of water, and you put it for 7 days to ferment. Then after fermentation, you can get a cow fresh milk. Then you put it, you add it together. Then you would let the fermentation to take place for another week. Then after that, you can use about 50 ml per liter to give them to the chicken for 5 days for the prevention of different diseases. Morass can be also used in different concoctions which you want to preserve. So the morass is used mostly as a preservative for not letting these concoctions which you have made not to go bad if you have to keep them for a long time. Like what I've talked about, the lactic acid, you can put at least half, let me say 500 ml of morass if you want to preserve the lactic acid for some time. We have lemon balm, lemongrass, oregano, eggs, and the other concoctions or the eggs which we have here, which you can use like for the prevention of respiratory diseases. You can add oregano and lemon balm together with lemongrass in warm water, which is not very water. Let me say water which might be 45 to 60 degrees. Then you put it there to stay for 2 hours. Then afterwards, you can use the same water to give them to the chickens, adding into the water, of which you can use the 50 cc to add it to every 1 liter. Then for those who are keeping like chickens on the free range, you can also use the pumpkin seeds as a dewormer. You can pound it, mixing it 1 kg to a 10 kg of feed. You mix it very well, then you give it to the chickens. Or you can just pick the seeds, the raw ones, then you can throw them to the chickens. It helps to deworm the chickens and other animals. Then we have also clove, which is not very common. I have tried to look for it, and it's one of the powerful antibiotics. It helps much on diseases like rhodiosis, even in Newcastle. You can pound it and mix it with aloe vera and honey. Then you can give it to the chickens for 5 days, of which you will take about 100 mils per liter. Then on the arrival of the chickens, there is what I call, or what we call, jump start, or a jump start. The jump start is being made of different herbs. And that's why I've talked about also the apple cider. The apple cider is used on making this concoction, the jump start. Most of the people, they will use water with sugar, the glucose solution. But myself, actually, I usually use this concoction, which we use the garlic, the honey, and the apple cider. So you take a 5 liter of water, that is for 100 chicks. So which means if you have about 200, you can use 10 liters. 300, you can use 15 liters, but it will also depend on how stressful the chickens are. So you take 2 cloves of garlic, you crush them, then 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, then warm water of 5 liters, because honey will not be able to be diluted properly or to mix well with cold water. Then you prepare this concoction a day before the chickens are arriving. Then you can give it to the chickens for about 2 to 3 hours. Then later on, you replace the water with a tablespoon in a liter using apple cider vinegar. This helps the chickens for a good start and replenishing them with their good energy. Then we'll look at the prevention and treatment of chronic respiratory diseases. So you can get the equal parts of ginger and garlic. So if you say you get 500 grams of garlic and 500 grams of ginger. You can use a blender to blend them. Then you mix them. You have to add water and you have to ferment it for 2 days. So if you are planning to say you give the chickens 2 days or 3 days before, it's better you make it 2 days before. Or you can also make it and keep it, as I have said, the molasses is being used as a preservative, so it will not make it the concoction will not go bad. So you will serve the chickens for 5 days. So you can use a bucket. Mostly you should not use a container. If you use a container, then you have to use a cloth so that there should be the breathing when there is the fermentation is happening. So like you can see this one, it is already well mixed, although the fermentation has already continued. So you should cover it after 3 days, then you give them to the chickens. So for serving them for 3 days, you use about 40 mils per liter, which is 40 cc. Then on the 4th day, you give them fresh water. And if you have enough apple cider, because it also helps in digestion, then you can use the apple cider on the 5th day. Then the second concoction is the one for fowl thai or typhoid. You need a clove and a tuber of garlic. You can say maybe 500 grams. Don't worry, maybe not to take the pictures. I think I will share the notes, so that yourselves you can go and read on your own. So you can use about a liter to make this concoction. Then you can cover it for 3 days, that is with a cloth, which is we're going to make it to be able to breathe out, that is during the fermentation. Then you can use the same one to administer to the chickens or to prevent the 2 diseases, which will use 40 mils in a liter. Then on the 7th day, you can use the jelly or the extract of aloe vera of about 4 milliliters to 4 liters of the drinking water for the broilers. Then actually I think most of what concerning the vaccination was being talked about. So the vaccine is being produced to help the birds' immunity against certain diseases. So the vaccine might be activated, it might be in an activated form of a virus or a weakened one. So there are two viruses, or there are two vaccines. There is a live vaccine and a dead vaccine. And actually the live vaccine is being used to the young birds. Then the dead vaccine is being used to the older ones. More especially like the ones starting from the first day, which is being done at the hatchery. Then it would depend on the routine. Some they use the gumboro at the 7th day, others they usually do at the 14th day, others at the 18th day. Then the Newcastle at the 18th day, so it will depend with the routine or the country where you are. So I have already talked about the two vaccines. So the vaccination is used to prevent diseases. There are different types of vaccines or different forms how these vaccines are being administered. The first one is the spray vaccine. Then the second one is being administered through water. Then the third one is being used as an injection. Then the fourth one is being used as an eye drop. So these vaccines are given using specific routines. For example, the one for fowl pox, it can be used through the wings, not in the drinking water or not in the eyes. So the spray vaccine, I think Rebecca knows it very well. I think that's what we're using. The spray vaccine, this method is used to spray with the in the eyes of the chickens, and you should not able to have any contamination. There should be no soap in that water when you are using it or any disinfectants. So they also use some skimmed milk, which is added, which is about 2 to 4 grams, which is added to the water. And the mixture should left to stand for about 30 minutes before you add some water, the vaccines or on it, which is the skimmed milk. Then the eye drop vaccine, which is being done with the drops on the eye, and it's usually being dissolved in water. Then the vaccine, which is being done via water or through water or in water, which is the most common one which we are using when we acquire the chickens. Then the ones who have the layers, they usually use the one for the web, the one in the wing, because they have to continue with that. So the vaccination for like Gumboro, Newcastle, you should withdraw water 2 hours before you administer the vaccine. And the water should not be contaminated with any disinfectants. When especially you have to wash your drinkers and to let them dry properly. And for those who want places where they have water which has a lot of calcium, the calcium might interfere with it. So some of the people, they usually use also rainwater, which is more neutral than the rest of the waters. And there is also special water which you can also acquire, which can be used for the vaccine, which you can buy from the pharmaceuticals. And in what season, it might not be that necessary to remove water 2 hours before, because the chickens, they might be drinking water frequently, or they might be needing that water. So as I've said, the vaccination programs, they might differ. The first one, which is being done at the archery, which is for the Newcastle, then the Gumboro, which is being administered via water, then the Newcastle, also through drinking water, and the Gumboro through drinking water. And some, they will continue with the vaccine, the Newcastle, until at the age of 28. So like I have said myself, I am not much in this pharmaceutical vaccines. So I showed you the Mexican sunflower, which is being added with aloe vera and salt. Then there is also what they call stonebreaker, but it's a common tree in Nigeria. But I've seen they are also selling it from take a rot, which you can also use as a mixture, a kg of it, and 3 leaves of aloe vera with red pepper, which is chili. You can give them to the chickens for 5 days. I think just to be brief, that's what I prepared. And as I have said, what is here, they are easy to be acquired, and you can be able to buy them. And I think there was a question concerning maybe the pests, like rats. The rats, you can also control them through using baking soda and sugar. Rats, they like something which are also sweet. You can take maybe 50 grams of sugar and 50 grams of baking powder and put it in the corners, or you spray it where the rats are passing. Then with the snakes, they don't like the smell which is strong. You can use garlic and spring onion, although spring onion might be a bit expensive, but spring onion ourselves, we can grow it. You can grind it or pound it and spray around the house, so the snakes will not be able to come closer to the house. Thank you so much.